Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new video. And welcome to, well, we're gonna be talking on this video. See, right now, what I'm trying to do, I know I was looking up because I'm trying to make sure this thing is doing what I need to do. I'm testing out a function on my camera. So, today's video, man, we're gonna talk a little bit about the issue that I told you guys I was trying to find a solution for and what we were going to do about it. So after looking at this thing, this is going to take a little bit longer than what I think because it's a certain amount of testing that has to happen in order to try and come to some sort of conclusion, and hopefully we do, at least come up with a fix. But I figured in this video, while I'm trying to test out the camera, test out this new function and all of that stuff, we can talk about it a little bit and trying to see, you know, tell you what my problem is and how I'm going to try and attack the issue. So let's do that. All right, fam. So as you can see, I set me up a little table in here, trying to get this thing right. So let's check this out. So let's get into this whole little situation here. So the thing I want to talk about, and this is something that the actual tuner, they told me about on the pre-dyno inspection. I think if you guys remember, I did say something about it. I said, what is, no, maybe I didn't, because I probably said that and I wasn't recording when I said it, but I was like, man, what does that mean? My high flow cat could possibly give me errors. Well, there is an issue, and it's not focused on to just my car. It's with Subarus altogether. So what that means is because of the high flow cat, and they're not rated the same as the stock one, there's a possibility for getting the infamous PO420 error code, which is catalyst not working efficiently. So, and that's the issue that I had. Now it didn't happen right away. It just kind of sprung up, and you know, I asked about it, and then of course that played a part in that's what they meant on there. And after looking it up and doing some research, that a lot of freaking Subarus do have that issue. So I figured, let me take the time out to try and figure out this issue. Now I thought I was gonna try and figure this thing out and get it all done for you guys, but no, I realized this is gonna take a little bit longer because there's a lot of things I gotta test, a lot of things I gotta do to try and figure out how to get this issue resolved. So I figured I'll do update videos on this, but for right now, I feel like I'm gonna tell you about this. Of course, I got my cheat sheet, so I got some notes that I did on there. So the warning that I got, like maybe a week or so after the dyno, is I got the P0420, which is catalyst performing at low efficiency, or it's just not performing as it should. So, and the stuff that I looked up on it is that the high flow cat could possibly be the cause of that error. And now having that error doesn't necessarily mean that the car is not performing properly, because Andrew, he did say on there that because he was looking at everything, all the parameters, the fuel and all of that stuff, and everything is fine. It's just more of an annoying sort of error that you have on the car, which you just got that light on there, and plus it's also going to cause you to fail an inspection. But the car is working like it should. Now, typically the ECU, it triggers that code, but it doesn't mean that the cat is not doing its job. It's just that the O2 sensors and the emission systems of most modern day cars are extremely sensitive to any sort of changes. And pretty much how the O2 sensors work, your O2 sensors give off a voltage reading. So your upstream, which is your one before the cat, has a certain range of voltages that it goes through, and then your rear O2 sensor, which comes after the cat, which tells how the cat did with the kind of going through that little honeycomb, how it's performing as far as for getting all those dirty emissions out of there. It goes off of some voltages. So your front O2 sensor is supposed to it's supposed to fluctuate a lot. But your secondary O2 sensor is supposed to stay pretty much stagnant. It's not supposed to have too many variations in the voltages. If it does, then it's going to trigger the ECU to give you an efficiency error. But like I said, it doesn't mean that you're running too rich or too lean or anything like that. You're fine. But when you're putting more power, you're running more power through, and you got a high flow cat, there's a tendency for that sort of thing to happen. So I also, what I looked up at, it did say that typically the car will pass a tailpipe inspection, but as far as the ECU, it's going to trigger that error every single time because it's just not performing. It's not responding fast enough to be able to, you know, to say that everything is fine, but the tailpipe is going to give you a good reading. It's going to be fine. So that's kind of some stuff that I looked up that I found on the website. Now, so you know, of course, we always monitor certain functions on our cars. Whether in mine, you know, for me, your dam, your knock, your fine knock learn readings, and everything is working fine. The car is not running lean. The air fuel ratio is just like it should be. You know, I'm looking at all of that stuff as I go, oil pressure, all of that stuff. Everything is fine with the car. It just has that annoying thing on the dash, which, you know, of course, if you do trigger that error, you will not pass inspection. So that's another. So that's kind of what I'm dealing with, and I'm trying to see if I can figure out a solution for this problem and things you can do. Now, Andrew did say that there are other, you know, catted J pipes that I could try out that work really, really well, but it still isn't a sure thing. The only sure thing that they did tell me about that does work is if you use your stock J pipe, because it's gonna, you know, they haven't had any issues with that. So that's kind of something that I can fall back on, which I may, but like I say, I want to try some other things out just to see what's going on and see if I can figure it out. So now I do have until December to, excuse me, God dog it. I do have until December to figure this thing out. So I'm gonna take my time running through some things I could try out. So now, like I said, I'm trying to make sure I hit every single point because I tried to do a little research on this thing. You know, if anything else pops up throughout me trying to test out fixes for this issue, I'll update you as that happens. So you will be seeing some videos updating on how this whole process is gonna go. But, so now, the thing I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to, I wanna run all of the E85 out of the car and go back to just 93 in the car to see if the E85 is part of the issue of what's causing that problem. You know, it does burn differently than regular gas and all of that. So I'm figuring maybe that could do something. So that's kind of the first thing I'm trying to do now. So now I'm currently in the process of trying to run all the gas out of this thing so I can, you know, get all the way back to 93. Because once I run all the E85, I gotta probably run a tank of 93 in there to try and get sure it's all out of there. So once I see it's a consistent 10% ethanol rating on the access port when it tells me the ethanol content of the car, I'm gonna do that. Once I do that, then I'm gonna run that all the way down to a quarter tank, and I'm gonna see if the error goes away on its own. Well, I'm gonna run it down to just before 2/4 of the tank. And then I'm gonna see if the error goes away. If it goes away, cool, then that'll be something I can report back. If not, then I'm gonna clear the code, and then I'm gonna run the gas down to a quarter tank, and then see if the error comes back or not after me resetting the code. All right, so now, if the error comes back after it's gotten to a quarter tank and the error comes back, well, it being at a quarter tank sets me up for the next thing I wanna try, which is this product right here. So I don't know if you guys can see this, make sure this thing is gonna focus in on it. Hold on. This right here. I'm gonna try this product out here. It's called Cataclean. And with Cataclean, you have to use this stuff when you get to a quarter tank. You dump the whole bottle into the gas tank, and then you run on it for like 15 to 20 miles, or you can just sit still and run your engine at 2,000, I believe it's 2,000 RPMs for like 30 minutes, and let it run through. And what it's gonna do is clean the catalyst in there, because you know, there's gonna be a lot of soot and stuff in there, and it'll clean all of that stuff out. Once it cleans it out, it also will clean off your O2 sensors as well. So once all of that's clean, then at that point you run on it for a while. After that, then you fill the tank up with 93 octane again to fill the gas up, and then just run on it. So you run on it for a while. As I figure maybe a good 100, 150 miles. The error should clear out on its own, just by some of the research that I've seen about people using this product, and it does that. They use it in BMWs and all of that sort of stuff. So I'm gonna do that. Hopefully it'll clear on its own. If it doesn't, then I'll reset the code and then I'll drive on it for a while just to see if the error comes back. Now, if the error comes back, then that's gonna push me to move to the next step of my plan, which, let me go to my notes over here so I can tell y'all what that is. Okay, so I did do something else. I went and ordered me another secondary, downstream O2 sensor that I can have to replace if these things don't work, because it could also possibly be the O2 sensor. So now if you guys can see what I'm doing here, I'm trying to do the things that are not too expensive to replace and change out before I do something major, which, like I say, I might put the time in, put the money in to do it, to try out a J pipe that has a more up-to-date and revived catalyst in there that's rated at a higher level to where maybe it'll work out better and it'll help solve my issue, and I'll be good to go. But I'm gonna put in the O2 sensor, the secondary O2 sensor, a new one, and then I'm gonna see if again, same process, if it's going to go away on its own, or do I have to delete it and see if it comes back. So that's another thing I can do as well. So now, another thing. So I know what you guys are saying. MoJo, why don't you just use one of those little, what is that thing called? I don't know what it's called. It's like a spacer for your O2 sensor. It kind of takes the O2 sensor out of the stream. Once upon a time, it was okay to do that, but nowadays that is extremely illegal and you can't do that. So, and also I do have some experience with that and on a past vehicle. And the thing is, if you do use one of those, it will cause you to have a different sort of, it'll bring up two possible codes. So I'm gonna tell you what those codes are, and then I'll tell you what they mean, and then we'll continue on with the story. All right, so here's what we have next here. So now there are two codes that you're probably going to see if you do use that device. Remind you, it's illegal. I don't recommend you use it. And like I say, the other errors that's gonna come up may very well cause you some problems due to how that error is gonna affect how the car runs. So the two errors that you can get is you can get a PO420B or you can get a PO420. So now, let me tell you what the PO420B, it's an error with O2. What the error is it says that O2 sensor slow response lean to rich. Now you start seeing stuff like, verbiage like lean to rich. So because the O2 sensor is being taken too far out of the stream, because those devices that I'm used to, the one I used before, it didn't take the O2 sensor way out of the stream. It just took it just above it to where it was able to steal some of that, the exhaust gases to come through and run past it. So it actually, and it did good, and it didn't cause me no issues. The ones that they have nowadays that you can, if you can buy them, because they, like I said, they're illegal, so you can't really get them anymore. But those, it takes the O2 sensor so far out of the stream that it causes it to have a slow response. So that means when the ECU is looking back at the O2 sensor trying to say, okay, what are you reading? The voltages aren't changing enough or fast enough to be able to, and that stuff runs in milliseconds. So if it's too many milliseconds too long, it's gonna say it's a slow response, something's wrong, and it'll dang near to a point maybe go into somewhat of a limp mode. But it's just, it not being in the stream is not allowing it to respond quick enough to what the ECU is trying to read from it. All right, the second one is the P0137, which that one is saying the O2 sensor circuit low voltage. So I think that plays a part in it being too far out of the stream, because you know these things, they run more efficiently whenever they're hot. Because they're in that exhaust gases, they're getting hot, they're up to temperature, so it makes them perform like they should, which is also another part of it not responding as fast because it's not hot enough. So that's because the upstream and downstream sensors give different voltages, like I explained to you guys before. So there is that. So that's kind of one reason why you don't want to use that. And it's like I say, it's illegal anyway, but it's going to cause you other problems. Now, you probably won't see the P0420 error, because now at this point it's not responding fast enough to be able to even give you that, to say that your catalyst is performing good or bad, because it's not relaying the information back to the ECU at the proper time like it should. So that's why it's probably a bad idea. So that's not a fix. That's why we're not going to do that. So we're going to move on to the next thing. Okay, man. So the next part of this, the next scenario. So let's say all of that so far has failed. Still a no-go. Now, the next thing we can do here. The next thing is to try to, I'm gonna have to probably go back to Cosmic to try and see what kind of, I think it was a, God dog, what is the name of that doggone J-pipe? NVIDIA. I think it's the NVIDIA catted J-pipe that's supposed to be, the catalyst is supposed to be rated a little bit higher, closer to what the stock catalyst is that's on the car. So I'm gonna verify that for sure. And if you guys know of one that is better rated, let me know. Now, if I do that and go that route, that means I'm gonna have to get that put in, and I'm gonna have to go and get another tune to, you know, to tune it for the new J-pipe that I put on here. So that is that's an issue. That's something I can do as well. Now that's gonna cost a little bit more money, but for the just to try and figure out what's going on and see if I can figure out something that way. Then if you guys ready to do all of these mods to your car, I can give you an idea on what you know, I guess I have to flip the bill for it, but show you what works for me, and it may work for you as well. Like I said, I can't really guarantee it. Same way they said they can't guarantee it, which is understandable, but that is another option I can do. Like I said, I got till December to figure this out. So I'm gonna be pushing real hard to try and figure this thing out. You know what they say, so it's like, you know, they say more money, more problems. Well, more power, more problems. This is the same scenario. And matter of fact, it still got something to do with money too. So yeah, it's relevant. It's relevant. Okay. So now another thing that I can do is that I can actually, my old tune is still on the access port. So what I could do is run all the run all the E85 out of the car, put 93 octane in there, and I can pretty much run no E85 in there, and I can go into the engine bay, disconnect that red or that brown plug it back in to have it stock. So pretty much taking the sensor out of the equation, upload the old tune, and I'll be back on that. And then I should be fine, and it should be running at a rate to where I can run that, have no code, get my inspection done, and then go back to it if I wanted to. I could do that. Another option that I can do is I can actually go in, which I might do that just to see, because I'm kind of curious as to what would the power impact be is if I ran the stock J-pipe, how much would my power decrease from that? And running that, and that means I had to get another tune and all of that stuff. But I'm a little curious about that, and by that time I might be able to figure it out, or I might, you know, I'll be able to save the money up and I'll be able to go and get that done anyway. But those are kind of the options that I have that I can try to figure out how to get past that problem, or to get past this problem, or trying to figure out a solution to it, to try and help myself out, but in the process I'll be able to help you guys out as well. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing. So that's pretty much the issue that I have, and that's what I got going on. That's what I'm trying to plan out. So do expect to see updates on where I am with that process going forward. Tell you guys what I did. Matter of fact, I might even run you out through the process of what I'm doing and seeing what happens. I'm gonna try and record the whole thing. So expect that. So that's pretty much what we got. All right, so there you go, fam. That's kind of what I got for y'all, man. Like I say, if you guys have any ideas, You guys usually have some pretty good ideas and good solutions. You may know somebody who actually had this happen to them before. Hey man, share what you know, or share what you think might work, or other options, man. Throw it in the comments, man. I'm probably, if anything, if it's good and it's working, that'll be the next thing that I update. And especially if I try it out or not, I'll try it out. And then on the next update video for this, I'll let you guys know what happened with it. But I appreciate you guys if you made it this far in the video. And I want to make sure you like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, hit all so you get notified whenever I put out a video. And until that next video, fam, peace.